Greetings, everyone. Yes, of course. You know, I say it all the time, especially on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. This is my favorite time of the month because it is Being Brown at Work Live. Hey, this is Linda Talaferro with the T, the extra effort. And if you joined me 2 weeks ago for part one, you know what part two is about to be about. Because this young lady dropped some gems in part one that, okay, if you didn't catch it, go back and listen to it, but stay with us on this one. Take your notes, make your connections, because you definitely are going to want to stay in touch with this fabulous young woman. So let me introduce to some of you and re-familiarize to others Danielle Fairbairn. Danielle Fairbairn is a seasoned interview coach, published author, keynote speaker, and facilitator dedicated to empowering individuals to excel in job interview readiness. Yes, job interview readiness. You may think you understand it and you got it. Let's not fool ourselves, okay? You really don't. No disrespect, but Daniela can make the difference. With a career grounded in transforming aspirations into achievements, Daniela has helped countless clients build the confidence and clarity needed to succeed in competitive professional landscapes. Her unique methodology blends confidence building techniques with strategic goal setting, creating a comprehensive approach to interview preparation. Daniela understands that a successful interview is not just about answering questions, but about showcasing authenticity, purpose, and alignment with one's professional goals. She equips her clients with practical tools to navigate even the most challenging interview scenarios, ensuring they present their best selves. As a published author, Daniela shares her expertise through insightful writings that inspire and guide readers on their career journeys. Her work resonates with individuals seeking actionable advice to boost their confidence and achieve meaningful career progress. A dynamic keynote speaker and skilled facilitator, Daniela captivates audiences with her engaging storytelling and actionable insights. Whether addressing large conferences or leading intimate workshops, she fosters a motivating and supportive environment that encourages personal and professional growth. Daniela's passion for helping others reach their potential is the driving force behind her work. Her commitment to uplifting her clients and audiences has solidified her reputation as a trusted expert in job interview readiness and career empowerment. Daniela, welcome back for
Thank
part
you so
two.
much, Linda. Thank you for part two. Part one was absolutely fabulous. Thank you again.
It was everything. And what, just for our audience, Daniela, let's just give them a little taste of part one because they're going to go back and listen to it on
Yes,
their own.
yes,
But let's
yes.
just go back and recircle. And people would think, okay, look, Linda, Daniela, you guys are talking about interviews. I've done interviews. I've written resumes. I know how to do an interview. We
The
think
diff-
we have.
yes, but the difference is, Linda, is
Period.
that this is 2025. A lot has happened, new administration. And so COVID is here to stay. And how are we doing things differently? That's what it is. What has
Yes.
happened
Yes.
5 years ago is not the same thing today. And so you have to be prepared. You have to rely on your resources. You have to build your network. You have to have a mentor. You have to have a sponsor. There's so many things that should be in place, and it can be also overwhelming. And so breaking it up into bite sized pieces is what we're doing here today.
Yes. Daniela, I'm so glad you said that because I think a lot of us, because we've got so much going on. I mean, look,
But
audience, I know we have a lot going on in our lives. And
yeah.
maybe we may think COVID is over. COVID's never, I mean, it's just like the flu.
Mhm.
You guys, when you go to the pharmacy, they're like, do you want your flu shot? You're like, okay, flu's been around for how long? Same with COVID.
Yes.
It's part of our lives now. But
Yeah,
what we do know is that when that happened, the whole paradigm shifted and
definitely.
in the professional space shifted dramatically and has
Mhm.
not changed it continues to shift. And since we also are black and brown women, where the audience is mostly black and brown, we know what the new administration, the next 4 years, maybe the next 8 years or so, things are going to continue to shift. But what does not have to change is our power to still be in control
Yes.
of our careers and our destinies,
Hmm.
right? Which is why
Yes.
this conversation is so critically important. So,
Yes.
Daniela, just if you could a little bit more talk
Sure.
about again the purpose and the why. Why is it important to prepare for interviews?
Because you just don't want to show up for an interview, Linda. You want to show out. And to show out for an interview, shall I
Okay,
repeat
wait,
that?
wait, wait, wait. Okay, you saw me get excited about
Yes.
that. Yes, okay. See, because Daniela, you drop these gems like you did in part one. You just drop
Right.
them and
Right.
you like keep going. I'm like, no, we can't keep going. You drop the gem.
So
You
I'll
don't want to
rewind.
just, yeah,
I'll
please say
rewind
it
back to
again. Say
the
it
bit.
again.
Okay. Because you not only want to show up, you want to show out, period.
Yes,
There are a
yes,
number of people who are looking for jobs. It's not just you. This is a different time that we're in. And how are you going to stand out from the crowd? By being prepared and by having someone who is an expert at interviews coach you through it. It's no longer just having a resume, it's no longer just showing up and being professional. How are you showing out? And that is
yes,
why. So, in part one, we talked about things that you should not do. What are the don'ts, right? So, an
yes.
example of a don't that we talked about was do not update your resume. A lot of times people come to interviews and their resume is not up to date. There are, so it's 2025. You may see something on there, the last thing from 2020, right? Perhaps. Maybe there was a gap. That's okay. But you want to
Hmm.
make sure that you have the most up to date information. You don't want to come there and say, oh, I forgot to mention A, B, C. No, people don't have time for that. So come correct or don't come at all. That's basically
Yes,
what it is, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And so here today, what we'll talk about is are things that you need to do, right? We went over the don'ts. It's now what the do's.
It is, Daniela. And,
Yeah.
that's why it was so important in part one. And like
Mhm.
I said, if you haven't listened to it, please go and catch it because it's so critical. There are things that we do that we are not conscious of or we think it doesn't matter. And those are actually the don'ts. Those
Right.
are the things you should not do, which
Yes.
is so important in being truly prepared. So not only, I mean, preparation is key. It's truly key. And we often think of, okay, let me do this in my preparation.
Hmm.
But we forget about, oh, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that and I don't want to do this. Daniela gave you one piece of the don'ts of part one. You want to go take a look at that first part of our engagement and get that list of don'ts because she gave several of those, which are
Yes.
so extremely critical. Again, audience, the topic I know feels old, it feels repetitive, but I'm telling you, it's far from that.
Right.
This is a different being prepared. We know as Black and Brown people, we have to always be ready. If
Always.
we're ready, we don't have to get ready.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yes.
If we're
Yes.
ready, we don't have to get ready. So that's what this topic is about. Although it feels kind of archaic and repetitive,
Mhm.
no, it's really about you truly being ready so you don't have to get ready. So, Daniela, let's just jump in.
Okay.
Let's just jump right in. And
Okay.
let's start talking about you as the expert. You're the interview coach. You're working with a client, with a client. Let's just get into what they need to do.
I want our audience to think about how you get ready to go out. Okay? You're about to hang out with
Okay,
the girls, okay? Hang
okay,
out with some
okay.
friends, and you want to look right, okay? And in looking right, you also put a song on to get you going. So, one of the things I want you to keep in mind is having a pre-game song. Now, this is a song that's going to get you hyped for this interview. You know you're nervous, you need to get rid of the jitters. So, I want you to keep in mind to have that pre-game song ready and in at your fingertips. So that's going to get you in the zone. So
I
whether that be
love that.
Beyonce, is a fave for most people, right?
A lot, yes.
Right? Whether it's Beyonce or another one of your favorite artists, get in that zone for the interview by playing that pregame song that you need. So
Ah,
people pregame, right? In different ways. You need
yes.
to get motivated. And so get motivated with that song. That's one of the first to dos I want to share with you
Yeah.
because it's extremely important. Now, another to do I want to share with you is there are going to be questions on the interview that are pretty standard. So, questions you should prepare for example, um, tell me more about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How do you handle pressure?
Pretty
These are
standard. Yeah.
commonplace questions that you should know how to answer. And when
Yes.
you're answering these questions, you're painting a story. They don't know you again from a can of paint. And so, why should they have you part of the team? Because they can get a good snapshot of who you are based on
Mm,
questions in that time. And it then becomes an engaging conversation because you're talking to someone, not as a bestie, no, but you're talking to someone as you're trying to get to know them, right? And so you're going to
hmm.
be open and having that conversation and it'll flow very naturally. So being prepared for those questions, right? Again, the questions are tell me a little bit more about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How do you handle pressure? I want you to be prepared for that. And on the
And so,
back,
Daniela,
yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt you there,
no,
but
no,
yeah, you're right. Those are basic questions. We get them at every interview.
yes,
And what I know, at least years and years ago, for me, some of the things I struggled with was, okay, so what do I already? You already read my resume.
right,
Okay, you got my resume in front of you. You see what
right,
I did.
right,
What more do you want me to tell you? Can
right.
you peel back the onion a little bit more? Not a whole lot, but a little
Sure,
bit more around that,
sure.
right?
Okay.
Because people are thinking, okay, they got my resume. What more am I going to tell them?
But they want to know about the person behind the resume, Linda, right?
Ah, there we
Behind. So
go.
who are you? So we see on
Yes.
paper that you have had X number of jobs. We know that you have Y number of degrees. We see that
Hmm.
you are well rounded, but who are you? Who is the person behind the resume, right?
Yes.
And so at that time, you can say, I am a wife, I'm a sister, I enjoy nature. And because I love doing these things outdoors, it has really helped me find my passion of being a right and what you are interviewing
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
connecting the dots. So
Wow.
you're showing what you're
Yes.
passionate about, who you are, what you're passionate about, and you're making that connection. And
Yes.
you're showing how that relates to this particular job. And so
Love
have
that.
that ready. So you're showing who you are so that that person knows who they're working with, right? So
Yes.
and it just it sets you apart because the person who may be interviewing before or after you actually probably did not share that about them, right? They
Mhm.
didn't know how to
Mhm. Mhm.
do the interview. But by you
Mhm.
being prepared, that's what helps sets you apart. Does that answer
I
your question?
Yeah, oh,
Yes.
absolutely, Daniela. It definitely does. And what I often tell my clients is that, because they always say, "Well, I don't know anybody in our business." I try, and what I love that you said is, look, it's not your bestie that you're talking to,
No.
but you are talking to an individual that just is trying to get to know you. So,
Right.
yeah, of course, you're not going to share your deep dark secrets, but
No.
you at least are going to give them a little bit more so they can see who you are as
Exactly.
Daniela or who you are as Linda. I love that. I
Exactly.
love that. I
Yes.
love that.
And so at the end of the interview, typically the interviewer would say, do you have any questions for us? And that is not a time to say, I have, oh, nothing, you answered everything. You better not. And the reason you don't do that is because it looks as if you aren't interested, you aren't intrigued. So come prepared with those
Oh,
three questions. Three is a magic number. No
okay.
more than three, no less than three. So I want to give you some takeaways with this. I want you to get your pen and paper and jot these down, okay? So a question you should be asking is, how would you define success in this role in the first 90 days? Again, how would you define success in this role in the first 90 days?
Mm,
Now, we know that is a probationary period, or what some jobs are called the introductory period. And so those
mhm.
first 3 months are crucial. You're filling them out, they're filling you out to see if this is the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
And so you want to make sure that you're doing your damnedest to keep that job. And so you want to know what success looks to them because you may have your own definition and they may have something totally different in mind. Of course,
Yes.
things can certainly change, but you're going in prepared and you're showing that you are here to be a success. So why not just make it clear
Yes.
during the interview, right?
Yes.
That is one
Yes.
question. The second question would is there any creative license in this role? There very well
Oh,
may not be, but having that question ready shows, so she thinks outside the box and she wants to know this is okay. That's what interviews think. Okay, she's not coming here just to kind of right. She's coming here to show out. She's not just showing up. She's giving her
okay.
best. Okay, is there a creative license in this role? That's the second question.
Ooh, that's a new one for me. I love that.
Yes, and the
Wow.
third one is, which is a pretty common question. What are the next steps in this interview process? There are some companies that have a 10-step process. There's some companies where the interview is the interview and that is it. But you probably would know that during these interviews that you're having, because COVID is here to stay and this is a new year, there is quite a process which has been um, it's been quite the experience for some of my clients because they're not
Yeah.
used to having so many hurdles they look at it as, or not even hearing for quite a while from a prospective job, right? So
That's the thing
you
right
want to have
there.
an idea as to what the
Yeah.
next steps are, so you can then know in your head what the timeline would be. There are people who are on a PTO, people who are on leave, they may have an interview, it just helps put things in perspective to manage your expectations. So
Yes.
those three questions are crucial. And so I would
Wow.
say definitely have that in mind and have that in your arsenal, right? That's important.
Absolutely, Daniela.
Yeah.
And that last one you mentioned, I think is so important because what I've heard from people say, and even my daughter has experienced, right? She feels like a little, and others have felt like they were being ghosted after the interview process
Mhm.
because it was
Yes,
such a lag in
right.
time,
Hmm.
right? And they didn't ask that critical question
Yes,
so
because it's
that they
important
could
to know.
level set themselves.
Right.
Yes.
Because the
So,
last thing you would do is just call, you want to follow up.
sure.
That's important. And the last tip, I did say three is a magic number, but I have one more tad bit tip to share with the audience. And that tip is a thank you email.
Uh,
What actually would put you over the top is if you were to write a thank you card
mm,
in your writing. That will actually put you over the top. I
wow.
want to say in all the years I've had interviews, a thank you emails is what I've sent every time. But in terms of me interviewing candidates, it is rare. It is rare, rare. Out of 10 plus years, I want to say maybe I got two thank you emails, two. And these are of hundreds of candidates, two. And it sets you apart because it's like, okay, you know. Um, and so I think that speaks wonders to who you are and your character.
Yeah, Daniela, I'm so glad you mentioned that because as you were talking, I was reflecting on the candidates that I've interviewed in the past, and I'm actually supporting one of my sites and interviewing for a manager role at the site. And the
Mhm.
number of candidates that actually sent a thank you, I don't think we've had any.
Yes, and that speaks
Not one.
volumes. That helps
Yes,
you show out, right? How are you setting yourself
yes,
apart? You're being prepared. You are also
yes.
making sure that you have that thank you. Thank you is so simple.
It's
So
simple.
simple. Very simple. Thank you for your time. Just something very simple.
Yes.
You're
Oh,
also referencing something that was mentioned during the interview. So if you are having a panel interview, for instance, and there are two or more people who are interviewing you, there is something that you can connect with each of those interviewers that
mm,
you can put in that particular email, you can put in that letter, you can put in that card.
yes.
It just because there's something when you can get them talking more than you know that it's golden. It's golden, Linda, because they are talking more about their job and about themselves. You got them where you need them comfortable. And so you may be a
Yes.
little uncomfortable, but you have them comfortable. So
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Oh my gosh. See, okay, look, you guys that followed me know I've been doing this for a long time, but if I learned some gems from her today,
yeah.
if and when I ever have the interview again, you think I'm not going to be using these tips? Please, yes, I
Exactly.
will be using these
Exactly.
because what you just said, I mean, is really impactful as
Mhm.
an interviewee, right?
Yes.
To really separate yourself from the rest of the pack.
Mhm.
And something as simple as a thank you,
Thank you.
I mean, it doesn't take much time at all
No. How
to
do you
do.
feel when someone tells you thank you, Linda?
Oh,
Just
clearly.
simple, very, very simple. Just thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
the time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate
Oh,
you
it
being
means a lot.
with me
Oh, I
today.
ain't gonna
It
lie.
means
It
a
means a lot.
lot. It
Mhm.
means a
It means
lot.
a lot. It
Yeah,
does. It does. It
yeah, it
does.
does.
It
It
does.
does.
So,
Um,
any other things to do, Daniela? What
yes.
else? Okay.
So I would definitely recommend to our audience that they consult with an interview coach, someone like me who is able to talk with them, who is able to help guide them.
Mm,
We are professionals at what we do. That goes without saying. And so
sure.
just finding that right interview coach who would help
Yes.
take you to the next level. And
Yes.
so as an interview coach, I have two mock interview sessions. There are times where you will look for one and they'll only offer you one. To me, that's
Mm,
not effective. The reason you need two is because you need to know what your baseline is.
yes.
There needs to be a plan of action. Then there's a second mock interview session.
Yes.
That's why
Yes.
it's a three-part process when it comes to me and my services.
Okay.
And so, you know, taking the time, you're starting the interview process, take the time to look for a coach. You have an interview that may be coming along in the next month or so because you're shooting out your resume to however number many of potential employers. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that you are ready for
Yeah.
that moment when it comes. And so don't wait till the last minute to find an interview coach because it's not going to work. You need time.
Yes.
And so whenever I will come across clients, prospects, I'll let them know if you can let me know a week in advance, it'll be ideal. It gives you time to prepare yourself for the first mock interview session. It gives
Right.
you time to actually sink in and process the action plan steps. And then
Yes.
lastly, you would then be prepared for that last mock interview session. And that's why a week is ideal, not the day before, because it doesn't work,
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
it's not going to work. Danielle, you're mentioning something, Daniela, that I think is so extremely important.
Yes.
And I know that I can attest to what it was like to not have one versus when I did have an interview coach. I mean,
Okay.
we can believe that we write the best resumes. We can believe, and don't get me wrong, you might be the bomb at writing resumes.
Yes.
And we might think that our bestie and our girl or our cousin or whoever,
Right.
we can do the practice sessions with them. No
Mhm,
disrespect to them.
mhm.
But when you have an expert who has had success, him or herself, and in this case is Daniela herself, in killing interviews, getting that next level opportunity or getting that job that you seek,
Mhm.
helping clients do exactly the same. That's what you want in your network. You want that resource to help you over the hump. I often say, you guys follow me, I say this all the time. No man is an island. We are not, if you think you're a hero, put the cape on. Don't do that to yourself. I mean, that is a
Right.
bunch of stress that you don't necessarily need when you
Mhm.
have resources, if people have your best interests at heart, and especially if they look like you. Black and
Mhm.
brown women, I mean, come on now. If they look like you and they have your best, and now I know you, but some of you say, yeah, Belinda, all skin folk and kinfolk.
That's
I know,
correct.
I know. Look, I'm not playing. I know.
Right.
But Daniela Fairbairn is one of those people that will have your best interest at heart. And take it from me, who have had interview coaches and didn't have them. It's a difference maker. You
Mhm,
want to have a broader perspective. You
mhm.
want someone that's going to challenge you. You want someone that's really going to prepare you for the unique landscape. All of us, come on. The landscape is not the same for us. Let's
Mhm.
just be real. But we want to show up as if it is. And what I loved about what Daniela said, no, you don't want to just show up. You want to show out.
Yes, it's crucial.
It's
I want
crucial.
I want you to think about this, right, Linda? It's as if you're trying a new dish. You heard about something online, you're like, okay, let me try this Thai dish, right? And so
Yeah.
you get the ingredients, you you're looking at the directions, right, of what steps should be taken in order to make this dish. And you're like, wait, this is the dish? Okay. Because you knew that when you went to the restaurant, the dish tasted nothing like that, right? And so I
Wow. Yes.
enjoy going to
Love it.
restaurants. I love going to restaurants because cooking is not my expertise in the least bit. Okay, Linda? So I'm leaving it to professionals. I know that when I go to a restaurant, I'm looking at reviews. I have an idea of what I like to have, and I'm enjoying that moment and the
Yes.
dish, right? Versus trying to
Yes.
figure it out all on my own. No, 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 no. I am
Mhm.
not, that is not my thing. So I'm gonna go to the restaurant.
Yes.
These are professionals who have an expertise in making this cuisine, these dishes. I want to try this particular dish in the menu, and this is my expectation.
Yes.
Do it on my own. It'll take time
Absolutely.
for it to get to that point. So why not leave
Yes.
it to those who are experts?
Love it.
Look at
That analogy is
that.
perfect,
Yeah,
Daniela.
yeah,
Perfect, perfect,
yeah.
perfect. And there's no reason why we have to continue the stress or worry when we know that we have what it takes internally. We've done the work, we've done the
Yes,
education. Why not have someone help us prepare to showcase all that hard work and skill
right.
that we have done the due
Mhm.
diligence to put together?
Yeah,
Daniela, I'm gonna tell you what, I knew part two was because part one was everything. I
yes.
knew part two was gonna be fabulous. And time, look, again, it's just like poof, gone, right? But here, audience, what you don't have to do is at the end of this think that you can't connect with Daniela, because you can. You can connect with her. I've tagged her. She's on LinkedIn. You can reach out to her. Daniela, do you have a website? Do you have
I
something that
do.
people can go to?
Yes. So it's DanielleFairbairn.com. My
There we
name,
go. So
simple
you
said.
got her name. Dot
Yes,
com. That's, see,
yes.
it's easy. I do the same thing.
Yeah,
MyName.com makes it easy. So
yes.
please go out, check her website, connect with her on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
You will not regret it. You want to be truly prepared. And what I love about Daniela's approach, it's not, it doesn't require you to be something you're not. She's going to help you show up authentically as yourself,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
strongly ready and successful to kill it in that interview so that you can show out and that there is no other decision but to select you for the role. And
Yes.
that's exactly what you want. Daniela, it has been such an honor to have you as my guest for this month. It has been such an
So
honor.
much,
Thank you so
Linda.
much for spending time with me and my audience and educating us on the value of what true preparation in the
Mhm.
interview process looks like.
Yes. Thank you for your time. I look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely.